or hi. Rostov-on-Don. In informal conversation it is frequent, Rostov. The largest city in the southwest of Russia, the administrative center of the Southern Federal District and the Rostov region. City of Military Glory. 2008. It is based under the decree of the Empress Elizabeth Petrona of December 15, 1749. It is located in the southeast of the East European plain, on both river banks. Don in 46 came from the place of its confluence with the Sea of Azov. In 1092 came to the south from Moscow. The population -704 persons. 2021. Is the 10th most populated city of Russia. Within the Rostov agglomeration over 2.16 million people. The 5th largest agglomeration of the country. Live. This city is the large administrative, economic, cultural, scientific and educational, industrial center and the most important transport hub of the south of Russia. Unofficial Rostov referred to as Gate of the Caucasus and the southern capital of Russia, and also the Don capital. On February 21, 2019, Rostov-on-Don was recognized the regional capital at the legislative level. In 2018, Rostov-on-Don was one of the cities in which there took place matches of the FIFA World Cup. Etymology. It is founded in 1761 as Dmitry of Rostov's fortress. The name is given on church for the sake of Saint Dmitry, who the last 7 years of the life was a metropolitan Rostov and Yaroslavl, and in 1757 is canonized by Russian Orthodox Church. At a fortress which was called in life Rostov, there was a settlement which began to call just Rostov. In 1796 it was transformed to the city with the same name. Later, for difference from ancient Rostov, this city began to refer to as Rostov-on-Don. Geographical location. Rostov-on-Don is located in a southeast part of the East European plain. This city mostly is located on the right river bank Don. On the left coast there are some industrial enterprises and shopping centers. See Levberdon. The southwest outskirts of the city adjoin the delta of the Don River. The Don branches. Rostov-on-Don is in our zone Moscow time. Moscow time. Shift of the applied time concerning Utes is +300. According to the applied time and geographical longitude, average solar midday in Rostov-on-Don comes at 12:21. Climate of Rostov-on-Don moderately continental. Average annual climatic indicators. Temperature is +9.9 C, the speed of wind is 3.2 m/s, humidity of air of 72%. Osakov drops out about 618 May a year. Winter soft and low snow. The average duration of preserving of snow cover is 10-25 days. Average temperature of January 3.0 C. An annual average minimum during the winter period makes 19.4 C. The absolute minimum was observed in January and made 31.9 C in 1940. Duration of a heating season is 5 months. The summer is hot, long and droughty, with prevalence of a sunny weather. Average temperature of July is +24 C. The absolute maximum was observed in July and made plus 40.2 C in 2020. Relief. The type of a relief of the city is directly connected with its geographical zonality. The relief of the territory of Rostov-on-Don has flat, over-frame character. At Rostov-on-Don, height of the right coast reaches 80 m. On the left coast the low Bataish ridge about 10 m higher rises, and only at the city of Azov the left coast of Don considerably towers over right. The main breeds sedimentary, easily exposed to a wind and water erosion owing to pouring rains. The processes of destruction of the land surface extended to territories under the influence of the gravity. Landslides, taluses, also contribute to the development of ravines. Very high overschistist of the territory of Rostov-on-Don is caused by sedimentary rocks, the nature of a relief of the territory and fluid work of waters, pliable to destruction. The valley of Don is cut strongly up by beams and ravines of different size and unauthoritative source. Vegetation. In 2008-2009 in Rostov-on-Don more than 40 projects on reconstruction and creation of subjects to gardening, the majority of which is already realized in the territory of the city, are developed. In 2009 in the city more than 6,000 trees were planted. Flower perennials but twice less. Annually many flowers Odnoletnikov, more than 1.5 million pieces land. In recent years to specify most of all funds for gardening it was spent in 2008, 202 million rubles, in 2009, already 174 million, in 2010, 54 million. In 2011 the administration spent about 63 million rubles for gardening. Hydrography. Through Rostov-on-Don the largest river of area, Don flows. Also across the city there pass other rivers among which there is Temernik and Dead Donets. In the territory of the city there are other reservoirs. Springs, the small rivers, lakes and also reservoirs, the largest of which are the northern reservoir, the Rostov Sea. Ecology. Essential level of pollution of the air basin of the city of Rostov-on-Don remains. The most significant sources of pollution of atmospheric air are automobile. There are now 94% of emissions as of 2009 in a source. Also railway transport, the enterprises of fuel and energy and machine building complexes, agricultural holdings and the enterprises of the construction industry. The total amount of the pollutants departing from all stationary sources of allocation in 2011 made 33,895,000 tons, from which 72% were caught and neutralized by and dust removal systems, and 50.4% were utilized. In a total amount of emissions of the pollutants which came in 2011 to the atmosphere from stationary sources, 91.5% of the share of gaseous and liquid substances which are the most hazardous to health of the population. Pollution of water objects the industrial and crude sewer drains, storm and exhaust waters continues. The deficiency of standard water for economic and drinking needs remains. Quality control of water of reservoirs of 1 and 2 categories of water use in 2011 in the city of Rostov-on-Don established. Indicators of microbiological pollution of reservoirs of 1 category of water use. In places of water intakes were 67.4% of tests of water, chemical pollution minus 5.4% of tests of water. In reservoirs, 2 categories of water use. In recreation areas, microbiological pollution is revealed in 83.3% of tests of water, chemical in 27.3% of tests of water. Excess of threshold limit values. Further, maximum allowable concentration in the surface water within the city of Rostov-on-Don was observed on indicators of a dry remaining balance. 0.1, 0.4 maximum allowable concentrations. Oil products. 0.2, 1.3 maximum allowable concentrations. Rigidity. 0.3, 0.7 maximum allowable concentrations. Iron. 0.2, 22 maximum allowable concentrations. And 2 other indicators. Insufficiently purified sewage has an impact on water in the Don River on dissolved oxygen, group of nitrogen, phosphates and other indicators. Water quality of the springs located in the territory of the city of Rostov-on-Don in 2011 did not correspond to hygienic standards for indicators of chemical harmlessness. A dry remaining balance, the general rigidity, sulfates and sodium. On microbiological indicators, water quality of springs in 2011 also made 21.4% of positive tests of water. The central treatment facilities of a water supply system were constructed in 1929, 1934, reconstructed in 1976, the wear is 80–90%. Rated output capacity -160,000 m a day, but because of high wear is only 80–100,000 m v day. Alexandrovsky treatment facilities of a water supply system were constructed in 2 stages by independent blocks in 1964 and 1984 and perform also water supply to the satellite towns of Bataysk and Epsi. Design capacity -320,000 m a day, actual from 450 to 550,000 m a day. Sewage arrives on the treatment facilities of the sewerage located on the left riverbank Don. Performance of constructions on sewage treatment is 313,000 m a day. The first and second turns. Trains about 320,000 m a day actually arrive. As of 2018, the city is canalized for 86%. The remaining 14% of the population of the city of Rostov-on-Don are not connected to the centralized sewerage. Since February 2021, water from cranes goes black, green, brown. Residents of Rostov complain of poisoning. Security with public green plantings in limits of city line when calculating according to town planning regulations, construction norms and regulations. 89 makes 244%. Green plantings occupy 34.5% in the total area of city lands. At the same time, there is a considerable lack of green lungs of the city in accordance with GOST 17.5.3. 178 calculation of the areas for which joins green zones. Woods around the cities outside city line. At such assessment, the share of security with green plantings from standard security with green plantings for the city of Rostov-on-Don makes 26.5% is not present in a source. Foundation of the city. Officially foundation date of the city is considered 15 on December 26. 1749 when the Empress Elizabeth Petrovna the decree founded Temirnitsky customs. Under the decree of the Empress Elizabeth Petrovna from 18 on August 29. 1749 customs had to be founded in Cherkassk, but Cossacks considered it impossible for the commercial activity as had certain duty privileges. And these privileges did not act on a customs territory. The Empress, having considered Danila Efimov's petition received on November 23. On December 1749 granted a request of Cossacks and designated in the diploma of December 15 the place for customs in Temernik's mouth from where Rostov-on-Don originated. For collecting of tariffs and octroys from the goods brought from the Turkish area and brought from Russia abroad, customs to found down the river Dona up from the mouth of the Temernik river against the natural boundary called Richko Lodes. In the spring of 1750 in Customs de Pier, a warehouse, a quarantine, garrison barracks were constructed. Here in 1756 the trading company was founded, International, Russian and Constantinople. The Temenitsky port became the only Russian port in the south of Russia. Through it business was done the countries of the Black, Aegean and Mediterranean seas. In 1760-1761 for protection of lower reaches of Don against the Turkish attacks of aggressors and the Crimean Tatar hordes at the Rich Well on the project the engineer Captain 1. Vedenyova construction of fortress began. The leadership in works was assigned to the military engineer A. 1. Rigelman. Fortress in the form of a 9-beam star had 3. 5 came in a circle and was located between present lanes of Chekhov and the Serv, Gorky and Stanislavsky streets. Fortress had 2 forged at Tolomanovsky and soldiers which were located along the coast of Don from present Tolomanovsky Lane to Voroshilovsky Avenue, an unauthoritative source. Inside 7 longitudinal and 7 cross streets were located, and the territory was built up with various buildings for placement of garrison and stock holding of arms. The garrison of fortress totaled more than 4,000 people, 1,000 more lived in neighboring settlements. 6 on April 1761 Elizabeth Petronia's decree of fortress named the Metropolitan Rostov and Yaroslavl-Dmitra. 1652-1709. Shortly before this canonized by Russian Orthodox Church. The name of fortress and the settlement changed subsequently. Saint Dmitri's Fortress, Dmitry of Rostov's Fortress, the Rostov Fortress, just Rostov, at last, to distinguish from ancient Rostov Veliki that near Yaroslavl, Rostov-on-Don. Over time he built houses for merchants and ecclesiastics, shops, taverns, public houses, prison and other buildings. Except permanent residents, about 3,000 people, natives from Ukraine lodging on farms and villages near fortress regularly came to works to the port. The Rostov port became quickly known in Russia and abroad, attracting more and more Russians and foreign merchants. From Greece and Turkey brought wines, juice, oranges, lemons, dates, raisin, dried fruit, coffee, pearls, Morocco, telescopes, too expensive fabric, luxury goods here. Cheap products of agriculture, bread, fish, metal and other goods were taken out to exchange. Foreign goods went from here to depth of Russia. To Moscow, Smolensk, Kazan, Orenburg, Vyatka and on numerous fairs. Names of outstanding Russian military leaders are connected with history of fortress. In 1768 there came the Admiral A.N. Senyavin for the leadership in construction of shipyard here in 1783-1784 the commander A5. Suvarev was a commandant of fortress here after several years of service on Baltic. The Admiral F.F. Yushakov was translated. Fortress had numerous garrison, was armed with 238 tools and for half a century was used as rear base of the Russian troops. Saint Dmitry of Rostov's fortress played a significant role during the Russian-Turkish wars of the second half of the 18th century. In the Russian-Turkish War of 1768-1774 it formed base for offensive at Azov. In 1779 to the east from Fortress Armenians, natives from the Crimean Peninsula, founded the city of Nakhivan on Don. 9 on March 20. 1778 the Empress Catherine II issued the decree addressed to the lightest Prince G.A. Potyomkin appointed in 1775 the governor of the Novorossiysk, Azov and Astrakhan provinces. Execution of resettlement was assigned on commander of the Crimean Army A. Przerovsky. But he was not fated to perform this decree. Referring to bad health, he asks about a biennial holiday. The young General A5. Suvarev is appointed to its place. According to Suvarev's sheets for August-September 1778 31386 people from them left the Crimea. Greeks -18407 souls, Armenians -12598, the Georgian -219, Volok -162. In the created conditions immigrants repeatedly addressed A5. Suvarev sent deputies led by Yesef Argutinsky of Separgutin, the archbishop heading the Astrakhan diocese to St. Petersburg. Eventually, their applications were crowned with success and their request for withdrawal of the earth by it for the settlement in the mouth of Don near Dmitry of Rostov's fortress was granted. 9 on December 20. 1779 immigrants gathered on the earth allocated to them to the east from Dam fortress. Rostov, near the midday camp, and it read the royal diploma. The new city was received the name Nakhivan, where city dwellers of the Crimea and country people in the neighborhood of the city, located in the villages of Chalter Tokti, Crimea, Metsovsal, Big Sala, by Sultan Salah Nasvita, Nesde. The famous Russian architect Est. Starov took part in planned development of the new city. 9 on August 20. 1797 the fortress and Nakhchivan were a part of the Rostov county of the Novorossiysk province. The 19th century. By the end of the 18th century, in connection with accession of Black Sea coast to Russia, fortress lost the strategic importance, strengthenings raised, and the territory of fortress departed to the city. In 1797 Rostov becomes the district city Novorossiysk, and since 1802 the Ekaterinoslávsky province. Fortress did not make a uniform shot. After a series of ramparts and filling of ditches, the city was quickly cut through by a network of streets and lanes. Instead of adobe and wooden began to build stone buildings. The trading activity became major activity of residents. The multilingual speech, bright national suits of residents of Rostov, brisk life of the seaport struck A.S. Pushkin, who visited Rostov in 1820 and 1828. In 1835 the garrison and military property of the Rostov fortress were transferred to Anapa. The advantageous geographical location at the intersection of overland and water roads contributed to the economic development of Rostov. At its walls the trade port accepting vessels of the Russian, Greek, Italian, Turkish, Armenian, Persian merchants was formed. In 1887 the city was included in structure of area of Army of Donskoy that became a push to further development of the industry and improvement works. To the 100th anniversary the city totaled about 15,000 inhabitants, and by the 20th century over 110,000 people lived in it. Trade was the basis of the economy of Rostov. It was called the merchant city, but by the beginning of the 20th century in Rostov more than 100 enterprises, including such large as the main workshops of the Vladikavkaz Railroad, the Plugostroiteldy plant, XA, the shipbuilding, Gvozdilna wire, iron plants, 2 tobacco factories worked already. And every third enterprise belonged to the foreign capital. According to a census of 1897, 119,476 inhabitants lived in the city, specified by the native language. Russian -94673, Jewish -11183, Little Russian -5612, Armenian -1182, Polish -1444, German -1182, Tatar -1172. According to the same census, in Rostov and next to it Nakhchivan. Present Proletarsky district of Rostov-on-Don. Totally, there was the following religious structure. Orthodoxy -111,760. 72. 8%. The Armenian Apostolic Church -25605. 16.7%. Judaism -11817. 10.6%. Catholicism -1656. 1.1%. Protestantism -1327. 0.9%. Islam -1397. 0.9%. Followers of the Armenian Apostolic Church were concentrated in Nakhchivan, nowadays Proletarsky district, and Myasnikovany, the present northern district of Rostov-on-Don. Belonging to it were made 61.2% of the population. Revolution of 1905. The All-Russian October political strike of 1905 began in Rostov, a strike in the main workshops of the Vladikavkaz Railroad 13 on October 26. In the morning 18 on October 31. In Rostov the contents of the manifesto published by Nicholas II became known. Social Democrats organized a demonstration of workers and the studying youth. Demonstration came to the end on the square between prison and tram depot. Here the grandiose meeting with participation about 10,000 people with the requirement of freedom to political prisoners took place. Cadets, Social Democrats, including some of arrested on suspicion of oppositional activity and released during the meeting, made a speech at a meeting. The big crowd of the Black Hundreds with national flags and portraits of the Tsar gathered and began to throw at protesters stones and to beat. For protection from ranks of protesters, revolving shots were distributed. After dispersal of a meeting by Cossacks, the crowd of the Black Hundreds started smashing the Jewish benches. On October 1920 the Jewish disorder continued, though on number of the killed, 176 people, and wounded about 500. It conceded the first place to the Odessa disorder, however, on the share of the victims among the Jewish population, which made more than 1%. In Odessa, no more than 0.5%. It was the largest Jewish disorder of the beginning of the 20th century in Russia. Along with the December armed revolt in Moscow on December 7, 21, 1905. On January 3, 1906. Here in Rostov there was a general political strike which developed into an armed revolt. Civil War. During Civil War of 1918-1920, Rostov played a noticeable role as one of the centers of the White movement. The Rostov Voluntary Regiment, from the studying youth of Rostov-on-Don, entered the first forming of volunteer army. In the night of 9/10, with 22/23. February 1918, from here the army went to the legendary ice campaign. The founder of army, the General M5. Alexiv wrote to the brother, "We go 2 steps. We can return if only there is a God's favor. But it is necessary to light a torch that at least one light point was among the darkness which covered Russia." In Rostov there were shells, cartridges, regimentals, medical warehouses and medical personnel, all what the small army protecting approaches to the city so was in great need in. In the city about, officers who did not wish to participate in its defense stayed on vacation. Generals Kornilev and Alexiv did not resort at this stage neither to requisitions, nor to mobilization. Savers' Bolsheviks, having occupied the city after their leaving, took everything what needed, and intimidated the population, having shot several officers. On April 21. On May 1918, Rostov was for a while occupied with other voluntary group, the Colonel M. Shi Drozdovsky, come from the Romanian front. On January 10, 1920, the 1st Cavalry under S.M. Vyugin's command entered the city. The Soviet period of history of Rostov-on-Don began on February 11, 1920, when the White Army finally left the city. Between wars. City map of Rostov-on-Don. It is made by the North Caucasian Geodetic Management of Gubsok of the USSR in 1931. In the late 20s in Rostov-on-Don active construction began. In 1926 the giant of the Soviet agricultural mechanical engineering, the Rostsamsh plant, was mortgaged. On November 29, 1935 the drama theater, largest in the country, of M. Turkey, with the auditorium on 2,200 places, where the famous director by A. Zavadsky, actors 5. P. Naretsky and R. Ya. Platt worked is open. Shuko and Gelfrich were architects of theater. Construction was conducted by a group of employees of Teatrastro, which director was A. M. Stambler. On December 28, 1928, there was a resolution of the Commission of Yevik of the USSR about consolidation of the cities of Rostov and Nakhchivan-on-Don to one city of Rostov-on-Don. Then the city of Nakhchivan-on-Don became Proletarsky district of the city of Rostov-on-Don. This consolidation led to construction in the city of a number of office buildings. In 1930 on the area of the New Market Alexander Nevsky Cathedral was demolished, and in 1929-1934 on the square the building of the Regional House of Soviets. Destroyed during the Great Patriotic War and which partially kept historical appearance after reconstruction was built. On September 13, 1937 the Azovo-Chernomorsky edge was divided by the resolution of Vyevek into Krasnodar Krai with the center in Krasnodar and the Rostov region with the center in the Rostov-on-Don. In 1939 Rostov-on-Don already took the fourth place in Rusfers by the number of inhabitants minus 510,000 people. By 1940 the size of the city increased more than twice. Great Patriotic War. The German troops occupied Rostov-on-Don twice. In the fall of 1941 and in the summer of 1942. For the first time the German troops approached the city on November 17, 1941. Approach was conducted by the 3rd Tank Body of the 1st Tank Army under E. von Mackensen's command as a part of the 13th and 14th Tank Divisions, the 60th Motorized Division and the Motorized Division CC, Leibstandard CC Adolf Hitler. Protected the city of a part of the 56th Army of Raqqa, under command of the General F.N. Ramazov, which brought along with other parts the 339th Rostov Rifle Division and the Rostov Shooting Regiment of a national militia created from locals were. On November 20 troops of Wehrmacht were included into the city. The 1st Battalion of Division CC broke to the railway bridge and took it safe. In a week, on November 28, the Soviet troops under command of the Marshal S.K. Timoshenko during the Rostov offensive transaction recaptured the city. Liberation of Rostov became the first considerable victory of the Red Army during an initial stage of war. On June 22, 1941, on November 18, 1942. Rostov-on-Don remained Soviet till July 1942 when, after a failure of offensive of the Red Army near Kharkiv, the German command began offensive at Kuban and the Caucasus. On July 24, 1942 the 17th Army of Wehrmacht entered Rostov. With the Ovsky beam on the outskirts of the city where Nazis killed 27,000 of Jewish population and 3,000 people of other nationalities became the place of Massachusetts' extermination of civilians. In total Nazis destroyed more than 40,000 people, 53,000 residents of Rostov were stolen to Germany for forced labor. War caused to the city extensive damage. Rostov-on-Don was among 10 most affected cities of Russia from war. The source is not specified. 706 days. On February 14, 1943, after the victory near Stalingrad during the general retreat of Wehrmacht on the southern side of East Front, Rostov-on-Don was finally freed from the German troops. Post-war period. On August 9, 1945 the master plan of restoration of the city developed under the leadership of the Academician of Architecture 5. N. Semyonev was approved. And in November residents of Rostov learned that their city is included in number 15 of the largest and oldest Russian cities which are subject to restoration first of all. The city began to be restored very quickly. The new enterprises were restored and under construction. Together with them also the city was restored. Gorodskaya embankment, which became one of favorite vacation spots for residents, was arranged well. On May 9, 1959 in Rostov-on-Don at a Massachusetts grave at Karl Marx Square the eternal flame was lit. In 1961 the structure of Rostov-on-Don included the village of Alexandrovskaya, which was a part of Proletarsky district. In 1963 the Rostov Academic Drama Theatre of M. Gorky is restored. In 1965 new Voroshilovsky Bridge was open. In 1969 the memorial complex to the fallen soldiers was built. The monument is built in the place where in 1943 were buried 301 persons, the Soviet soldiers and civilians who fell during the German occupation and in fights at protection and release of the city. In the 1978 years reconstruction of Rostov and other large enterprises of the city was carried up. During the Great Patriotic War of 2,500 workers and employees of the Rostov plant went on fight against fascists to field army and a national militia. Over 300 combined harvester constructors for feats of arms were awarded with awards and medals. 13 workers of the plant are awarded ranks of the Hero of the Soviet Union. In commemoration of these nice feats of workers of the Rostov plant, in the park of N. Ostrovsky the Steel of Heroes was established. Workers of the plant became initiators of its creation in 1973. As a result of Massachusetts housing construction, large residential masses western and northern were built. Actually, the area of housing of the city in 3 decades more than doubled. In 1987 Rostov-on-Don became one of the cities of the USA with population more than 1 million people, being on this indicator in the 23rd place. Modern period. The city is the largest center of business activity that confirms availability in the city of a large number of regional offices of the largest Russian banks and companies. In Rostov it is paid to development of sport much attention. In the northern residential massif in Boulevard Komarev the sports zone including the Universal Sports and Spectacular Hall on 8,000 places with children's and youth sports school, a football and track and field athletics sports kernel with a tribune, the polymodule of sports grounds, the swimming pool, hotels on 350 places will be created. In general, the functional organization of Boulevard Komarev provides objects of Massachusetts spectacular actions and sports and improving actions, a walking zone, a recreation area of children and also a zone of organizations and enterprises of service in the territory of the sports park. In 2000 Rostov-on-Don became the center of the Southern Federal District, having confirmed the status of the large regional center. In Rostov the headquarters of nowadays abolished North Caucasus Military District was located. On July 6, 2010 the President of Russia signed the decree on creation in Russia instead of 6 military districts, 4 joint strategic commands. JESC. With the headquarters in Rostov-on-Don entered into Ost-South Southern Military District. North Caucasus Military District, southern part of the Volga-Ural Military District, Black Sea Fleet, the 4th Command of the Air Force and Air Defense, Caspian Flotilla. As the city of military glory, Rostov-on-Don received not just a stele as that orders the federal legislation, but also a full-fledged site, the Memorial Complex, City of Military Glory, in Rostov-on-Don. The honorary title, the City of Military Glory, is given to Rostov-on-Don by the decree of the Russian President of May 5, 2008 No. 556 for the courage, firmness and heroism shown by defenders of the city in fight for freedom and independence of the fatherland.
to the square in front of the airport building in Pervomeshki district where the new memorial is located. The resolution of city administration appropriated the name the area of military glory.
City Council. The Duma of the city of Rostov-on-Don consists of 40 deputies. Elections take place on the mixed system. 30 deputies are elected on single-candidate constituencies, and 10 deputies are elected on the uniform constituency in proportion to the number of votes given for candidate lists in the deputies nominated by electoral associations. A term of office of the deputy of City Council -5 years. The chairman of City Council is a mayor. The City Council the decision appoints the head of administration of the city of Rostov-on-Don. City Manager. Since October 15, 2014 the chairman of City Council, the mayor Rostov-on-Don is Zinodin Yarakina. Heads of administration of the city of Rostov-on-Don. Yuri Pogrebchikov. 1991-1993. Mayor of Rostov-on-Don. Mikhail Chernysov. 1996-2014. The position of the head of the city administration till 2014 hereinafter was referred to as the mayor Rostov-on-Don. Sergei Gorbin. 2014-2016. Vitaly Kashnaryev, since November 7, 2016 on April -23, 2019. The acting as the head of administration, Alexei Litvinenko. Since April 23, 2019 on October 22, 2019. Alexei Litvinenko, since October 22, 2019. City holidays. For the first time in the history of Rostov-on-Don on September 20, 1864 became a city day. This outstanding event was celebrated in a big way. Now the city day is celebrated on the third Sunday of September. Twice a year, in the spring and in the fall, the day of a Drevnazdana in which everyone takes part is celebrated. In a day about 20,000 saplings land. In the fall the holiday, Don people a close-knit family, is spent. Population. For January 1, 2021 on population the city was in the 10th place from 1116 cities of the Russian Federation. National structure. Russian 950,628.89. 5%. Armenians of 44223%. Ukrainians of 22908%. Tatars of 6571%. Georgians of 5127%. Azerbaijanians of 4506%. Belarusians of 4172%. Koreans of 4002%. Jews of 3730%.
The number of able-bodied population of Rostov-on-Don as of January 1, 2012 was estimated at 63.2%. Able-bodied 23.7% of people are more senior and are younger than able-bodied -13.1% of people.
The share of men in the population of the city made 45.6%, women -54.4%. Population of the city district Rostov-on-Don on a floor. As of January 1, 2012. Urban population. Olmanzynshiny. 1,096,448 men, 499,562 women, 596,886. Demographic indicators. In Rostov-on-Don in 2013, 15655 children were born. It on 305 children, or for 2%, is more than for the same period of the past 2012. Such figures of statistics are given by the Ministry of Domestic and Information Policy of the region. One more positive detail, considerably in comparison with last year, the paternity proof number, by 11.3%. And adoptions increased for 28.2%.
Immigration gain for 2013 made 6.7 thousand people, taking into account what the general increase in population of the city developed at a rate of 6.1 thousand people.
Marriages and stains. For 2013, the number of pairs, by 3%. Persons interested to marry, 7336 registration, increased. In 4 months 2013, for May 14, bodies of ZAGs of the Rostov region registered acts of civil status, that is 3.6% more than for the same period of the past 2012. 0.3% arrived from villages and settlements. 2194 registration. Cemeteries. In Rostov-on-Don as of the end of 2016 there were 8 cemeteries. One of the largest cemeteries in Europe, Northern, it occupies the territory more than 360 hectares. The number of burials, according to the plan of the cemetery of 2009, was on the area of 355 hectares. It was opened in 1972. At the cemetery the crematorium functions. Are available also Alexandrovsky, Brotherly, Verkhanilovsko. The Jewish Tata Cemetery, Leventsovsky, Lower Nilovsky, Armenian. In Proletarsky district. Cemeteries.
Because of the shortage of places at the existing cemeteries of the city, at the beginning of 2016 the decision on creation of East Cemetery near the new residential district, Platovskem, under construction was made. However, because of a protest of citizens the decision was cancelled, and the new cemetery of Rostov-on-Don was organized in Myasnikovsky district of the Rostov region near the village Big Sala in 2018. Before the October Revolution in the city there were other cemeteries, among which there was the Pokrovsk Cemetery, on which since 1842 there was Krestovskaya Church.
Also the Vyksvyatsky Cemetery, demolished during construction of Sports Palace, worked. Symbolics. Symbols of the city of Rostov-on-Don are a form of expression of the rights and freedoms of city community enshrined in the federal and regional legislation, the Charter of the City. Symbols of the city are understood as the coat of arms, a city banner, a flag, and the official sign of the mayor. The possibility of organization of the anthem of the city at the initiative of bodies of city self-government or inhabitants of Rostov-on-Don is also enshrined in the Charter of the city. Coat of arms of Rostov-on-Don.
A coat of arms, the main character of the city, reflecting merits of Rostov-on-Don in front of Russia and city community, the legal rights and privileges received by local government authorities in different years of the history. The historical municipal coat of arms was most highly approved by the Emperor Alexander I on August 2, 1811. In the blue field, the tower representing a barrier from attacks of the dissociated any predatory people, and our surface over them represented by the trophy made of weapon of those people in the red field. In 1904 additional elements were brought in structure of the coat of arms of Rostov-on-Don.
An ancient imperial crown and the gold oak wreath which is tied up by the Alexandrovsky tape. In this version the coat of arms was restored by the decision of City Council of April 9, 1996 No. 121. The operating coat of arms represents the board divided down into two equal fields of blue and red colors. On the blue field the surf tower, on red a chain armor, a helmet and weapon is placed. The board is framed with the oak wreath intertwined with a red tape. Over a board the crown is located. The city banner as Shrine of City Society was granted by the City Public to 6 Public City Council on September 20, 1864. On the occasion of this significant event and also opening of the bridge and laying of almshouse, the City Council, under the leadership of the Mayor Adam Baikov, spent a city holiday, the first in the history of Rostov-on-Don. Traditions of holding a city day remain still. In the second half of the 19th century, the beginning of the 20th century, under a banner of the city, the regiments of a national militia leaving on protection of the southern boundaries of Russia were formed. On both sides of a banner in the center the municipal coat of arms of Rostov-on-Don in color is placed. On both sides of a white satin panel in the top part the inscription is placed. City of Rostov-on-Don. In the lower part of a banner the inscription is located. It is founded in 1749. The inscriptions executed by gold from the open country of a banner are separated by the red fringing 10 wide located from edges of a panel at distance of 50. Distance to a municipal coat of arms from the top and lower edges of a panel on 150. On perimeter the panel of a banner is decorated a gold fringe 25 long. Availability on a banner of the color city coat of arms and white color of a satin panel symbolize freedom and openness of Rostov-on-Don for development of trade and the industry, establishment of cultural and other ties with the partner cities. Flag of the city of Rostov-on-Don, a shrine of city community, the symbol of its unity and interaction of citizens which is subject to protection both in the city and beyond its limits. It symbolizes city community irrespective of religion and nationality of his members, their belonging to party and social movements. The flag of the city represents the rectangular panel of golden ratio. A ratio of height to length -2. Consisting of the flowers of a municipal coat of arms which are vertically dividing a cloth into 2 equal parts which are located on the face from a staff in the following order. Blue. Blue, symbolizing honor and glory, sincerity and commitment to traditions of many generations of residents of Rostov. And red. Dark red, meaning the justice and bravery, force and courage shown by residents of Rostov in labor everyday life and on fields of battles for independence and freedom of the fatherland. The flag of Rostov-on-Don repeats in the simplified type the main heraldic symbols of the coat of arms. The official sign of the mayor entered by the policeman provision of 1870 as the sign of the mayor represents the stylized cartouche of an oval form in which center on and obverse the municipal coat of arms with an inscription on the upper edge is represented. Rostov-on-Don in the lower part. Mayor. On a sign reverse an inscription. April 19, 1996. Adoption of the Charter of the City. Establishment of a position of the Mayor. The official anthem of the city is the Rostov City, Rostov-Don song written in 1941 by a 5. Sofronov and M. 1. Planter after liberation of Rostov-on-Don from the German troops. The anthem of the city is performed in effective date in the mayor's position. After bringing of the oath by it. When opening the first and closing the last meeting of City Council of the next convocation. On all city actions. Before the home games of FE Rostov and Rostov-Don Group. In departure time of trains of local forming from the station Rostov Main. Each hour the chiming clock established on the building of the Rostov Central Department Store.
The domain name of the official site of administration of Rostov-on-Don is also connected with the name of this song.
Status of the city of Rostov-on-Don. From 1904 to 1917, the Gradonachelstvo, which is directly submitting to the Minister of Internal Affairs. From February to October 1924, the administrative center of the southeast of Russia. From October 1924 to January 1934, the administrative center of the North Caucasian region, the city of regional subordination. From January 1934 to September 1937, the administrative center of Azovo-Chernomorsky region, the city of regional subordination. Since September 1937 till present, administrative center of the Rostov region. From September 1937 to November 1945, Rostov-on-Don, the city of regional subordination. From November 13, 1945 to June 3, 1958, Rostov-on-Don, the city of republican subordination. Spheres. From 1959 to 1997, Rostov-on-Don, the city of regional subordination. Since 1997, Rostov-on-Don has the status of the city district. The city of regional value. According to paragraph 1 of Article 1 of the Charter of the City of Rostov-on-Don of April 9, 1996 and 211, with changes on. From May 13 to June 21, 2000, Rostov-on-Don administrative center of the North Caucasian Federal District of Russia. Since June 21, 2000 till present, Rostov-on-Don administrative center of the Southern Federal District of Russia. On May 5, 2008, to Rostov-on-Don the honorary title, the City of Military Glory, is given. On December 4, 1970, Rostov-on-Don was awarded with the Order of Lenin, for great success achieved by workers of the city in economic and cultural construction, in task performance of the 5-year plan for development of industrial production and especially branches of mechanical engineering, the Decree of Presidium of the Supreme Council of the USSR of December 4, 1970. On February 25, 1982, an award of Patriotic War of the I degree.
Through the courage and firmness shown by workers of the city in days of the Great Patriotic War and for success achieved in economic and cultural construction by the Decree of Presidium of the Supreme Council of the USSR of February 25, 1982.
In 2008, to the city the honorary title of the Russian Federation, the City of Military Glory, is given. Avenue of Stars. On September 19, 2008 in the city on Voroshilovsky Avenue, the Avenue of Stars, where in the spring and mortgage a star to the outstanding resident in the fall was created.
On the Avenue Yuri Zhdanov, Alexei Berest, Vladilan Levshin, Tamara Ilyanskaya, Gevorg Vartanyan, Ivan Udadov, Georgy Balayev, Alexander Pechersky, Evgeny Kornilov, Leonid Krasnichenko, Eudoxia Nikolina, Vladimir Kajul, Roman Rosenblatt, Yesef Vorovich, Emily Mazin, Martyros Serian are already immortalized.
Rostov-on-Don, the diocesan center of the Don Metropolitanate, the Rostov and Novarkist Diocese of Russian Orthodox Church. Here the Cathedral of the Nativity of the Theotokos and two monasteries is located. Iversky Convent, Rostov-on-Don, and Menzdomskaya Old Cherkassk Monastery. Village Old Cherkassk. About 40 Orthodox churches work in the city, including the Sacred and Alexandrinsky Temple, 1904, the majority of which was constructed after 1990. Among them, Cathedral of the Nativity of the Theotokos, Old and Pokrovsk Temple, Temple of the Reverend Seraphim of Sarov, Church of All Saints, in the Russian land of Litap, Dmitry of Rostov's Church, the Temple in honor of the Saint Great Martyr Irina, John of Kronstadt's Temple, Saint Panilamon's Temple, Temple of Saints Kirill equal to the Apostles and Methody, Temple of the Prelate Spyridon of the Wonderworker, Temple of the Saint Great Martyr Ekaterina, Jean the Warrior's Temple, Sacred and Troitsk's Temple, Sacred and Pokrovsk Temple, Sacred and Alexandrinsky Diocesan, Church of Street, George of the Great Martyr George is the Victorious, Saint Alexander's Church, Church of Our Lady of Kazan, Church of the Prelate Nicholas the Wonderworker, Church of the Ascension, Russian Orthodox Old Belief Church.
Rostov-on-Don is also the center of the Don and Caucasian Diocese of the Russian Orthodox Old Belief Church. Cathedral Pokrovsky Cathedral was designed by the Street.
Petersburg Architect 5. A. Pokrovsky. Armenian Apostolic Church, St. John the Forerunner's Church, Holy Cross Church, Church of Sacred Revival, Roman Catholic Church, Church of the Last Supper, Greek Orthodoxy, Annunciation Church of the Virgin, Judaism, Soldiers Synagogue and the main choral synagogue. Invalid in the building the Skin and Venereologic Clinic is located. In 1901-1942 the Synagogue of Handicraftsmen also worked. Islam, Cathedral Mosque, Buddhism, Rostov Buddhist Center of the Diamond Way of Tradition Kaju Karma, Rostov Buddhist Center Jesh Shimam Pathinli, Dromtonpa of the Jellic Line, Seventh-day Adventist Church, 6 temples, Protestantism,
Evangelical Church, Nadafta,
Church of Christians of Vera Evangelskaya, Church of Evangelistic Baptist Christians, Church of Revival, the Destroyed Temples, Alexander Nevsky Cathedral. New Cathedral is blown up in the 1920th years. Churches of Rostov-on-Don. Old and Pokrovsk Temple. Economy. In 2013, for the first time for the last 10 years following the results of annual figures, export of the Rostov region exceeded import more than for $420 million. It is record level in the modern economic history of the region. In total, the foreign trade turnover of the Rostov region in 2012 made $10.2 billion, including export, $5.31 billion, import, $4.88 billion.
Growth of a foreign trade turnover of the region continued and in the first quarter 2013 and was nearly 10% to the level of the same period of 2012.
Export volumes for the same period increased more than by 30%. Export-import transactions performed 1357 participants of foreign trade activities. The number of participants of foreign trade activities of area grew up rather corresponding period of the past for about 53 years of the enterprise. Industry. Rostov-on-Don, one of the largest economically developed cities of the south of Russia.
Amounts of industrial output only on large and medium-sized enterprises are about 31 billion rubles a year. Growth rates of production volumes of industrial enterprises of the city stable.
Nearly 50% of a trade turnover in the region are the share of Rostov. The hallmark of the city are such enterprises as NL's Rostomich, Jest Rostvertel, Jest Baltic Don, the Don Tobacco, Tori, the south of Russia, Gloria Jeans, Aston Tigaz, Jest Donavtovoxel, Jest Almaz, Jest Gorizont, Jest Rostovsky the Priber plant. The products of Jest Rostomich cover about 60% of the market of Russia, the Don Tobacco, -12%, and Baltic Don -96% of the regional market. Jest Rostvertel is the only enterprise in the territory of the Russian Federation providing production of helicopters of different function. The south of Russia is known as the largest producer and the exporter of sunflower oil.
In the 21st century are liquidated. Redexay, the engineering enterprise founded in 1891.
Rubin, the defense plant which was turning out products of military and civil appointment, founded in 1927. The Rostov plant of sparkling wines, the enterprise for production of champagnes and sparkling wines, founded in 1936. Electroparrot, the defense enterprise releasing the electronic and radio relay equipment civil and military, founded in 1955. The largest industrial enterprises. Central boiler house of the city. The Priber plant, creation and production of radio-electronic means for the Navy of Russia. Jest Almaz, production of means of radio-electronic fight, REB, and communication. Jest Gorizont, producer of navigation radar stations for the civil and military fleet, means of protection of border, means of display of different function, electronic calculators. Now the most part of the territory of the former state defense enterprise. Sichi, plant management, the building of the dining room, the shop. In the early 90s shattered into small affiliated firms is used for commercial needs, megamarkets and exhibition halls are constructed, floor spaces are leased. Kietz -10, production of bearings. Donskoy Tobacco, one of the producers of cigarettes, largest in Russia. At the moment production is brought to the left coast of Don, to the industrial zone over the river. Zestquant plant, the only enterprise in Russia for production of a number of devices of orientation of the spacecrafts. The Milot plant, producer of mixers. Kestagat, producer of the equipment for light industry. The Rostov combined heat and power plant, producer of the heat and electric power. Rostov-on-Don, the largest producer of self-propelled combine and forage harvesters. Revenue of 2008, 15.762 billion rubles. The Rostov plant of the special tool, technical equipment is the largest producer of the industrial equipment in the south of Russia. Stamps for cold sheet and hot stamping for all industries, the roll and profilojabotny tool for the pipe and metallurgical industries. The Regatta Company and Southern Capital Vodka Distillery, the distributors and producers of alcoholic products, largest in area. Rostvertel, producer of the helicopters Mi-24, Mi-26, Mi-28, Mi-35. Revenue of 2008, 7.914 billion rubles. A part of the territory of the enterprise is used under the exhibition center of the international class, hotel, hypermarket, shopping centers. Rostprodmash, producer of the equipment for the food and flavoring industry. Hestempels, one of the open producers, largest in Russia. Federal State Unitary Enterprise Renews, State Rostov-on-Don Research Institute of Radio Communication, one of the few which managed to keep a personnel and production in the 1990s.
Production and development of antennas and stations of space and special communication, generally defensive appointment.
Piezoelectric material, created in 1992 based on ENCT, Piezopriber of the Rostov State University, develops and releases measuring instruments of pressure, level, and expense and temperature.
Zestkonavtovoxel, the largest motor transportation enterprise of the south of Russia, performing bus transportations across Russia to Ukraine and to Moldova.
Financial services. Branches of the largest Russian and foreign commercial banks work in the city. Sberbank, Din24, Rossicbank, Alpha Bank, Rosebank, Opening, Raiffeisenbank, Russian Standard, and others. The largest bank of the Rostov region is the Center Invest. In total there are about 115 banks and their branches, 17% of local banks, 80% of representative office of federal banks, 4% of representative offices of foreign banks. Budget.
In 2013 budget implementation on income made 27.5 billion rubles, execution on expenses made 27.2 billion rubles.
In the previous 2012 budget implementation of the city on income made 27.9 billion rubles, execution on expenses made 25.4 billion rubles or 87.7%.
Average income on one inhabitant for the reporting period of 2011-2012 increased by 5.4% and was 25.4 thousand rubles. For the reporting period of 2011-2012 decreased by 2% and was 24.9 thousand rubles. Budget revenues of the city were originally planned for 2013 in the total amount of 22,087.1 million rubles. Rate of change of budget revenues to initial budget settings of 2012 was planned for 2013 by
91.6%, actually was minus 98.6%.
For 2014 and planning period of 2015-2016, the total amount of income is predicted, respectively, in the amounts of 28,394,979.7 thousand rubles, 29,792,915.6 thousand rubles, and 32,616,681.3 thousand euros.
The total amount of expenses for 2014 and planning period of 2015-2016 is predicted, respectively, in the amounts of 30,796,258
thousand rubles, 28,807,052.9 thousand rubles, and for 2016 in the amount of 33,341,718.3 thousand rubles.
Construction.
Development of individual housing construction in the city purchases more and more Massachusetts character every year. In 2009-2011, input of individual low housing increased in comparison with the period of 2006-2008 by 1.5 times.
In 2009-2011-12, 4,000 individual apartment houses and extensions to them were put into operation. Over 12,000 families improved living conditions. 2 site plannings of new residential areas Neva and decorative cultures are developed for placement of individual housing construction.
The city administration invested in development of extra quarter engineering infrastructure of the residential area, decorative cultures, from city budget over 76 million rubles. In the developed areas of individual building two-room modernization and reconstruction of building for the purpose of improvement of quality of life of the population is carried out. Works on development of street engineering infrastructure are also carried out.
For 2011, over 370 million rubles are aimed at the development of street infrastructure.
Work on channeling of 1-3 turn of the settlement of Myasnikovan is fully completed. Completion of construction of the 4 turn is planned that will allow to provide to 100% removal of economic and household waters from the territory of the housing estate. The source is not specified. 1652 days.
Now when
the city administration together with the Ministry of Construction, Architecture and Territorial Development of Row conducts preparation of agreements on intermunicipal cooperation with nearby municipal units for granting the land plots for the citizens having 3 and more children.
The Southern Federal University conducts construction of the campus in the city of Rostov-on-Don. In 2011-2012, 4 hostels on 2180 places are put into operation.
In 2013, the apartment house for research and scientific and pedagogical associates of SFU is planned to input. The source is not specified. 1652 days. From the middle of 2015, Rostov-on-Don began to be built up actively with new objects in connection with the new plan for building of the city and sub-ready to the FIFA World Cup 2018 which took place in Russia.
In addition to sporting venues, from which main thing is the Rostov Arena Stadium in the city, contain about 1,000 buildings. Trade and service industry. In Rostov-on-Don, following the results of 2010, retail turnover was 67459. 8 million rubles. In 2011 the amount of the retail turnover was 280 billion rubles. That makes more than a half of retail turnover and public catering in the Rostov region and is the fourth indicator in Russia among million-plus cities.
After Yekaterinburg, Ufa, Kazan.
In 2013 the amount of the retail turnover was 318.2 billion rubles, at the end of 2013 can reach 650 billion rubles. 97% of retail trade are the share of organized sites, and 9.3% of the markets and fairs. The quantity of objects of market trade in the region this year decreased from 86 to 83.
The amount of the realized food products in the first half of the year reached 147.7 billion rubles, and non-food minus 170.5 billion.
His share of catering establishments made 12.7 billion rubles, his share of subjects of small business in them minus 10.4 billion. At the moment the amount of floor spaces in Rostov is 868,000 m, and security with the squares at 1,000 inhabitants minus 795 m. Such federal networks as work in the city. Magnet, Mega, Pitaraka, Intersection, Eldorado, M, Video, Sportmaster, Trial Sport, Okan, Castorama, Leroy Merlin, IKEA, Thaler, Rio, Selgros, Babylonia, Metro Cash and Carry, Millennium, Falcon, Fold Babylon, Tape, OK. Markets and markets. As of April 1, 2013 in the territory of the city of Rostov-on-Don performed activity of 17 retail markets, total number of trade places minus 11186, including on types of the markets, one of them the central market. Salary and unemployment. The average monthly accrued payroll of workers on a cycle of the enterprises was 29791 rubles in 2013. Growth rates by 2012 were 114.5%. As of April 2013, with a big separation, the average salaries in the sphere of financial activities. 47856 rub. The second place behind public administration, social insurance. Rub. The third behind the processing productions. 33941 rub. Are in the lead. At the same time, the average monthly salary of employees of the enterprises which are not carried too large into average including small, in January, April, 2013 was only 16541 rup. At the same time, the size of a living wage established for Rostov-on-Don on an equal basis with all settlements of the Rostov region as of the second quarter 2013 was per capita 7104 rubles, for able-bodied population minus 7568 rubles, pensioners minus 5773 rubles, children minus 7360 rubles.
Level of registered unemployment in Rostov-on-Don for the end of 2013 was 0.3% of the number of economically active population.
Big Rostov.
The Ministry of Regional Development of the Russian Federation prepared the program of creation of 8 basic supergorod, the agglomerative centers with the multi-million population.
The project concerns also the Rostov region. Big Rostov, the first level of the Rostov agglomeration including an agglomerative kernel, Rostov-on-Don, and located in 10, a 12-kilometer zone satellite towns, rural settlements of the Alexei and Myasnikovsky districts of the Rostov region. The most known of them are the city district Batase, the city settlement Alexei, and the village Chalter. Transport and infrastructure. Rostov-on-Don is the largest transport hub in the southern federal district of Russia. In the city are located management of the North Caucasian Railroad of branch of Czech Russian Railways. The international airport Platov, which runs across Russia and the CIS, and also international flights to the countries of Europe, Africa and Asia. The airport is put into operation in December 2017 and is near the village of Grushevsko, in 40 km from Rostov-on-Don. The international seaport, which specializes in processing of mineral and construction, piece freights, timber, metal. Railway stations: Rostov Main, Rostov Suburban, Mayday, Nilovsky, Selmash and Rostov Western. Stopping flakos: Sereknia, Rostov Coast, Working Town, October, Mikoyan, Rostov Commodity, Ordzunikidze, Red Alexei, Kizitarinka, Leventsovskaya, Kardans, 1337 km. The main bus station Piskto-Naftovoxel and bus station on Sholihov Avenue. The former suburban bus station. More than 20 bus stations of departure and arrival of suburban and long-distance passenger motor transport. Through Rostov-on-Don runs several motoring highways of federal, regional and local values, including the Don M Highway, which passes across the outskirts of east side of the city, crossing the Don River on Alexeysky Bridge. Urban transport. In Rostov-on-Don 93 city bus, 10 trolleybus, 1 route of the electrobus, 5 tram routes work. The fare in urban public transport makes by ruble bus 26 in cash and 23 rubles by bank transfer, by tram and the trolleybus minus 17 rubles. Number of the passengers transported in a year by buses for 2010. In the intracity message, without minibuses, 191.7 million people. The tram on route No. 1. In 2011 in Rostov-on-Don the non-cash system of payment of drive, Rostov Transport, is introduced. Recently in the city, because of increase in number of motor transport, the movement of cars and public transport in some places of the city is complicated. As one of solutions of this problem, various options of creation of a system of a high-speed urban transport are considered. In particular, creation of a grade crossing railway elimination structure near the city of Alexei, for the purpose of redirection bypassing a part of the trains going through the city is planned. The released railway tracks within the city are going to be used for the city electric train. Project of the Rostov subway. The scheme of development of the high-speed tram. Stadtbahn. In Rostov-on-Don till 2035. In 1970-1980 in the city the subway was designed. At a turn of the 20th and 21st centuries as high-speed extra street transport, creation of a monorail was supposed. Since 2006, according to a new master plot plan of the city, transformation by 2025 of network of the tram and metro train is supposed. The high-speed tram with underground stations in the center. However, so far business has not reached any implementation. In 2008 the city administration has returned to the project of construction of the subway again, has been declared creation of the municipal enterprise for construction of subway. In October 2007 during planned survey of Voroshilovsky Bridge through Don, the crack has been found owing to what the bridge has been closed for all means of transport and pedestrians till June 23, 2008. On the bridge the movement of trucks is forbidden. In December 2010 the movement along the new Temenitsky Bridge located in Sivers Avenue alignment is opened. Since March 28, 2016 on the city electric train which connects areas Selmash, Ordzhonikidze, Kizatarinka, Voinvd, Strogorodok Western with the main railway station has begun to ply. Within implementation of the program of the city electric train.
In 2020, when forming the city budget for the next year, the administration has allocated funds for preparation of the design documentation of development of network of light rail transport in the city in 2021. At the same time in the city has been decided to refuse realization of the subway according to the recommendations of the street.
Petersburg Design Bureau. Bridges of Rostov-on-Don. Rostov-Tro Railway Bridge. Voroshilovsky Bridge. Temernitsky Bridge. Alexeysky Bridge. Zapadny Bridge. Combined automobile and railway bridges. Zhelezhnodorozhny Bridge through the Don River. Passes from Batays through the floodplain, the Green Island, 45th lying on the Kizatarinka station and the Lake of the Item. Fork. The first wooden bridge in Rostov-on-Don connected farmsteads of the monastery Serbhach to the island on the Temernik River. Later all wooden have replaced with concrete.
Builders always had many tasks. At construction it was necessary to consider interests as railroad if the design was railway, and the interests of navigation. The first high-water automobile bridge in Rostov-on-Don through the Don River has been built on the German project during the second occupation of the city and has been called in honor of the Romanian conductor of the Marshal John Antonescu.
It intended for a transportation of heavy machinery of Wehrmacht through Don to the Caucasus. In post-war years this bridge has been reconstructed and modernized. In 1965, in connection with construction of Voroshilovsky Bridge, has been sorted. On the left coast its support and concrete coastal strengthenings have remained. Streets. Centralnaya City Street is Big Garden. In Soviet period, Friedrich Engels Street. Perpendicularly it is crossed by two important highways of the city. Budinovsk and Voroshilovsky Avenues.
Bolshaya Sadovaya Street is one of the oldest city streets. In particular, on Big Garden there are such sites as the Town House, Musical Theatre which is one of the largest musical theatres in the Southern Federal District. Opposite to theatre in Pokrovsky Square there is a monument to Elizabeth Petrona under whose decree in 1742 and the Rostovsky's fortress has been based.
About a monument the Pokrovsk Temple, City Philharmonic Hall, the House Draft. Also on B.
Sadova such important administrative agencies as city, regional administrations and administration of the Russian President's plenipotentiary in the South Federal District are placed.
The Theatre Square, the biggest square of the city. Savatov Square is considered central. Is in Proletarsky District. On the square the memorial to the soldiers who have fallen in fights for release of the city from fascist aggressors, established to the 40th anniversary of the victory in the Great Patriotic War, is located. The monument represents a stele 72 meters high, with the stylized gilded image of the Greek goddess Nike dressed in a ground sheet. Budynovsky Avenue. The former Taganrogsky Avenue, one of the central avenues of the city, crosses Bolshoye Sadovye Street, passes parallel to Voroshilovsky Avenue. Voroshilovsky Avenue. The former Bolshoi Avenue, from 1958 to 1970 Karl Marx Avenue. One of the central avenues of the city, from the north adjoins Gagarin Square, the southern end comes to Voroshilovsky Bridge through Don. House numbers increase from the south by the north. Mikhail Najibin Avenue. Till 1967 Severny Avenue, in 1967, 2000 October Avenue. One of the central avenues of the city, from the south adjoins Gagarin Square, the northern end comes to Sovtskoye Konstantsy Square and Park of the Electroperik plant. The defense plant which is nowadays not operating. House numbers increase from the south by the north. The avenue is renamed into honor of the head of Jesk Rostvertel, at whom the plant has endured large technical and economic growth. Mikhail Najibin Avenue is adjoined by the Brotherly Cemetery, which is one of the oldest places of burials in the city. On the avenue shopping centers, Rio, Corazon, the Exhibition Center, Don Expo Center, the Amethyst Business Center are located. Communication. The first phone has appeared in the city in 1886, and in 1929 Russia's first automatic distant exchange with a capacity of 6,000 numbers has been put in operation. In Rostov-on-Don, as of 2011, several main operators of the Fixed Telephone Communication Act. The Rostov branch of Jesk, Rostelecom. The former Yutsk. The southern branch, Komster Regions. Before Tsts. The Rostov representative office of NL Sekvent, the Orange Business Services trademark. Numbering of a fixed telephony of Rostov-on-Don, 7-digit. Since 2004. All landline numbers begin on digits 2 and 3. Mobile operators in Rostov-on-Don are the Caucasian branch of Jesk, Megaphone, Bielin, Mobile Telesystems in the standard GANZM/UMT/Lead, Tele in the /UMT GANZM standard. Internet. In the sphere of providing internet access in Rostov-on-Don, the following internet service providers are allocated. Rostelecom. Fisk Rostelecom. The Internet on Air Technologies. Air Telecom. Jesk Air Telecom Holding. The Internet on Air Technologies. Tanked. Kisk Transtelecom Company. The Internet on Air Technologies. At the market there are also several regional companies. The higher education. Today in Rostov-on-Don educational services provide 39 higher educational institutions. 5 universities, 18 institutes, conservatory, theological seminary and 15 branches of educational institutions of other cities. The largest of them, the Southern Federal University, uniting in itself 3 former specialized institutes. Pedagogical, radio engineering, architecture and arts. And the former Rostov State University. Training is conducted at 37 faculties, the number of students is about 56,000 people. Universities. Southern Federal University, Donskoy State Technical University, Rostov State Medical University, Rostov State Transport University, Rostov State Economic University, RIN. Institutes. The Southern Russian Institute, branch of the Russian Academy of National Economy and Public Service. Rostov Institute of Management, Business and Right. Rostov Legal Institute of the Ministry of Internal Affairs of the Russian Federation. Rostov Social and Economic Institute. Rostov-on-Don Institute of Physical Culture and Sport, branch of the Cuban State University of Physical Culture, Sport and Tourism. North Caucasian branch of Moscow Technical University of Communications and Informatics. Rostov-on-Don River School. Rostov Institute of Protection of the Businessman. Rostov branch of the Russian Academy of Justice. Rostov branch of Moscow State University of Commercial Aviation. Rostov Institute. Branch of the Russian State Trade and Economic University. Rostov Institute. Branch of the All-Russian State University of Justice. Russian Legal Academy of the Ministry of Justice of the Russian Federation. Rostov Institute of Cooperation. Branch of the Belgorod University of Cooperation, Economy and Right. Rostov Institute of Technology of Service and Tourism. Southern Russian Humanitarian Institute. Southern Russian Institute of Financial Control and Audit. Rostov branch of the Russian Customs Academy. Rostov branch of Moscow State University of Technologies and Management. Other higher education institutions. Don Theological Seminary. Rostov State Conservatory. Academy. Aves 5. Rachmaninoff. Eurasian Open Institute. Don branch. Secondary Professional Education. In Rostov-on-Don for January 2012, 34 educational institutions of secondary professional education, including 24 colleges, 5 technical schools, 5 schools, 40 educational institutions of primary professional education, including 24 lyceums, 16 professional schools and also 159 comprehensive schools worked. The largest of them are Rostov College of Arts, Rostov Art Technical School of M.B. Brekov, Rostov Electrotechnical College, Retk, Donskoy Bank Technical School, the only educational institution in the south of Russia training bank employees. Rostov-on-Don College of Communication and Informatics. Rostov-on-Don College of Radio Electronics, Information and Industrial Technologies. Recruit. Rostov-on-Don Construction College. The Rostov Construction Technical School. Legal College of the Rostov Institute. Branch of the All-Russian State University of Justice. ARPA of the Ministry of Justice of the Russian Federation. Average educational institutions. In the territory of the city, 104 averages of educational institutions, including 17 gymnasiums, 16 lyceums and 71 schools function. On areas they are distributed as follows. Voroshilovsky district -18 institutions. 2 lyceums, 3 gymnasiums and 13 schools. Zheleznodorodny district -9. 2 gymnasiums, 2 lyceums and 5 schools. Kirovsky district -9. 1 gymnasium, 2 lyceums and 6 schools. Leninsky district -9. 2 gymnasiums, 2 lyceums and 5 schools. Oktyarsky district -13. 3 gymnasiums, 3 lyceums and 7 schools. Pervomaysky district -17. 2 gymnasiums, 1 lyceum and 14 schools. Proletarsky district -13. 2 gymnasiums, 2 lyceums and 9 schools. Sovetski district -16. 2 gymnasiums, 2 lyceums and 12 schools. Preschool education is carried out in the territory of the city of 146 preschool institutions of various type. On areas: Voroshilovsky -19, Railway -14, Kirovsky -11, Lenin -9, October -18, Mayday -26, Proletarian -23, Soviet -26. Additional education. In the territory of the city 9 children's and youth sports schools. No. 1, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. The Palace of Creativity of Children and Youth, the Center of Children's Creativity of Voroshilovsky District, the House of Children's Creativity of Zheleznodorodny District, the Center of Additional Education of Children of Oktyarsky District, the Center of Development of Creativity of Children and Youth of Pervomaysky District, the Center of Out of School Work, Leisure of Proletarsky District. The House of Children's Creativity of Sovetski District, the Center of Children's and Youthful Tourism and Excursions, the Information and Methodical Center, 2 centers of the Psychology and Pedagogical, Medical and Social Care function. In October and Sovetsk areas. Libraries. For January 2012, 43 libraries, 8 library information centers, 1 public center of legal information functioned. The property complex of the Rostov SEZ includes 47 buildings, with a total area of 11.3 thousand m. Readers of municipal libraries are more than 200.0 thousand citizens, about 4.5 million documents a year are issued it. The number of visits of libraries exceeds 1.5 million. The main readers contingent, children and youth, makes over 70% of total number of users of the Rostov municipal libraries. One of the large cultural centers of the city is the Don State Public Library, the leader among regional cultural institutions in the field of informatization, the resource center in the system of support of municipal libraries and continuous education of library specialists. The library has been founded in January 1886, since 1992 having received the status of the Don State Public Library. There take place film festivals, more than 20 subscriptions and clubs for users of library work, personal and collective exhibitions of the fine arts, applied skill, the children's drawing, a photo exhibition, book thematic exhibitions will be organized. In modern structure of informatization, the activity of library, the leading place is taken by the centers of legal and business information, the center of the international information resources, which includes the American Information Center, the hall of the French sculpture, the German reading room actively works. This center is unique, the collection of books, periodicals, video, CD and electronic databases in languages of originals. The largest are the Don State Public Library, the Central City Children's Library of Lenin, the Central Library of Maxim Gorky, Library of M.Y. Lermontov, Library of A.1. Kaprine, Library of N.K. Krupskaya, Library of 5.B. Kakalev, Library of 5.A. Zakrutkin, the Rostov Regional Special Library for Blind People, Children's Library of A.S. Pushkin, Children's Library of Mayakovsky. Theaters. In Rostov-on-Don there are several theaters. Each of them is not similar to others and has the history and traditions. The building of the Rostov Academic Drama Theatre of M.
Gorky is included into the list of masterpieces of an era of constructivism. In the London Museum of History of Architecture, Russia is represented by only 2 models.
Street. Basil's Cathedral and building of the Rostov Drama Theatre. The first theatrical Rostov company has been created on June 23, 1863. Construction of the building of theatre has been conceived in 1929, constructed in 1935 on the project of the Academician of Architecture 5.A. Shuko and Professor 5.G.
Yelfric construction was conducted under the leadership of A.M.
Stambler.
Appearance. The theatre reminds the tractor as a symbol of the fact that Rostov-on-Don is the center of agricultural mechanical engineering.
The big hall is designed for 20-50 viewers and intended for scenic representations. In one of the first performances, the whole cavalry has been brought to the stage. The small hall accommodates about 300 viewers and intended for cabaret and concert shows.
The building of theatre included also library and a museum.
At the Academic Drama Theatre of Maxim Gorky, the People's Artist of the USSR, the Honorable Citizen of Rostov-on-Don Mikhail Bushnev worked since 1961 until the death on June 12, 2014.
State theatres.
Rostov Academic Drama Theatre of M. Gorky. Rostov State Puppet Theatre. The Rostov Regional Academic Youth Theatre. The former theatre for young audience founded in 1963. Rostov State Musical Theatre. Private and Students Theatres. 18 Theatre. Rostov Chamber Drama Theatre. Bivsh. Rostov Independent Drama Theatre. Fersen Cubed. Students Theatre Rinkberg. Students Theatre Universum. Theatre of Comedy Miniatures Game. Maximum Puppet Theatre. Closed. Theatrical Workshop. Film Studios. In Rostov-on-Don there was a film studio for creation of documentaries and newsreels founded in 1927 and abolished in 2016.
Unique collections on the history of the city of Rostov-on-Don and Don region. The Rostov Regional Museum of Study of Local Lore has.
In halls of the museum permanent exposures are provided. Archaeology from stone to iron centuries. History of the Don Cossacks. Circle of the People of Don. Museum of the Southern Country Town. Rostov City Merchant. The evolution of the Don nature. Country towns of the south of Russia. Taganrog, Azov, Shakhty, Novarkisk, Red Sulin. In the gold room of the museum, rich collections of products of the ancient nomadic people are stored.
The important place in activity Romka is taken by thematic and anniversary exhibitions.
The exposures devoted to the Victory Day, anniversaries of the city of Rostov-on-Don, the 250th anniversary since the birth of M.
1.
Platov, to the 100th anniversary since the birth of Master of Arts.
Sholahov.
2 anniversaries of the famous Don artists. Within the events of celebration of the City Day of Rostov-on-Don, the museum shows exhibitions on the history of establishment of friendship and partnership with twin cities. The staff of the museum is authors of numerous collections, booklets, articles on problems of modern museology and Don history. In the city, the Regional Museum of Fine Arts,
Romy,
located in the historic center on one of the most beautiful city streets, Pushkin, also functions. The ancient mansion behind an openwork fencing has been built in 1898 by the famous Rostov architect N.A. Doroshenko, and before revolution belonged to the lawyer of management of the Vladikavkaz Railroad Petrov. In a collection of the museum contains more than 6,000 works now. Permanent exhibitions. Russian iconography of the 16th-19th century. The Russian painting of 17th, the beginning of the 20th century. Domestic painting of the 20th century. Western European painting of the 17th-19th century. At halls of the museum are exhibited, along with old Russian icons, cloths of the famous Russian painters 5. A.
Tropinin 5. D.
Orlovsky
K.
Ivazovsky Idest.
Rapin 5.1.
Surikov I.
1.
Levitin A.
K.
Savrasov I.
1.
Shishkin. The meeting of domestic art is provided by cloths of Idest.
Grabar E. Railov 5.
N.
Makshiv M.S.
Syrian and modern famous artists of Don region. In 2015, in the Don capital, the museum of the city of Rostov-on-Don will open.
One more museum is supposed to be created in 2014 on the basis of exposure of the memorial complex, Memories of the Victims of Fascism, in Izmailsky Beam.
The operating museums. Museum of Local Lore. Rostov Regional Museum of Fine Arts. The Museum of the Modern Fine Arts on Dmitrovskaya. Tobacco Factory Contemporary Art Center. Rostov Museum of Railway Equipment. Museum of the Russian-Armenian Friendship. Donskoy Military and Historical Museum. The Rostov Museum of History of Law Enforcement Agencies. In the building of the Ministry of Internal Affairs. The Museum of History of Brewing of the South of Russia. In the territory of the Baltic South plant. Rostov Museum of Astronautics. Zoos, dolphinariums, circuses and other. Rostov State Circus. The Rostov Zoo is founded in 1927, is located in the downtown. Such location allows residents to reach with ease from any district of the city. In a zoo there is the fullest collection of anthropoids in Russia, including Beloriki gibbons, a chimpanzee and orangutans.
Here it is possible to see unique endemics of Russia, the Amur tiger, the Amur leopard who is under the threat of extinction of a polar bear.
Much attention is paid also to animals of the south of Russia here. The Rostov Zoo, the only holder of a Bezorovy gantry of the Caucasian subspecies in the world. The zoo is high on the list in Europe on cultivation of sea eagles, Belek Rostov and black signature stamps, and also is one of the largest zoos in Russia and occupies the space about 98.2 hectares. Feature of a zoo is the fine park zone. The Rostov Zoo is participants of 38 international programs for preservation of endangered species. Annually the zoo is visited by over 600,000 people. In a collection of a zoo there are about 5,000 animals, over 400 species, including 156 species of mammals, 122 bird species, 80 species of fish, 39 species of reptiles are provided. The Rostov-on-Don's first winter circus has appeared on August 1 in 1957 on Budyunovsky Avenue. The first season of representations collected packed houses. The circus is designed for 1490 places. On tours in the Rostov circus there was famous Emil Teodorovich Pyo acting 3 months in a row. With it actors and other genres have participated in performances.
Then the circus of Rostov-on-Don accepted not less famous Yuri Durov, who has subdued the audience by miracles of the training.
Later in the circus ring such famous actors as the trainer Margarita Nazarova performed with the pets famous according to the movie, Striped Run, the favorite of public clown Karandash, Oleg Popov, brothers Zapashny, Yuri Nikulin and many others. The Rostov circus became for many the real house, the most famous actors acted here, sometimes there took place their very first performances. At the moment Rostov-on-Don the circus continues to please public with new programs, regularly to the city there come with tours, both the Russian and foreign actors. Acting for 2013. Rostov Zoo, Touching Zoo, Contact Zoo, Rostov Dolphinarium, Rostov State Circus, HO Aquapark, Open Aquapark Don Park on the Salt Lake. Music. Rostov Musical Theatre. The Rostov Regional Philharmonic Hall works in the city. Rostov-on-Don, one of the largest jazz centers of the country.
Exactly, here debates of variety jazz education, which professor of jazz, Kim Nazaretov, who has opened Department of Variety and Jazz Music at the Rostov Conservatory, still has in the early 80s put the first in the country, is strong. Since 1936 in Rostov-on-Don the academic ensemble of a song and dancing of the Don Cossacks of the Order of Friendship of the People functions state.
The repertoire of ensemble contains over 500 songs, includes the dancing numbers entering into Gold Fund of Russia. The tour biography of collective is extensive, and it not only the cities of Russia, but also many foreign countries. Ensemble of a song and dancing of the Don Cossacks, the hallmark of South Country. Orchestras. Rostov Academic Symphonic Orchestra. The State Concert Orchestra of Wind Instruments of 5. N. Edik.
Municipal Jazz Band of Kim Nazaretov.
Russian Folk Orchestra Don. Conductor Krika Herdine. Russian Folk Orchestra Narration. Conductor Galina Shishkina.
Festivals, biennial.
Southern Russian Biennial of the Modern Art. International Festival of Accordion Plus. Festivals of Jazz Music, Jazz po Rostovsky, and the Rostov Jazz Invites.
Exhibit rooms, galleries.
Exhibit rooms of the Union of Artists of Russia annually exhibit more than 20 exhibitions of the famous Rostov-on-Don artists, painters, masters of arts and crafts. And also there is a center of children's art creativity, Children's Art Gallery. Works of young artists, students of RU of M.B. Grekov are exhibited at its halls. The traditional exhibitions, paints of Rostov, everyday life and holidays of multinational Don, eyes of children, personal anniversary exhibitions of the Rostov artists, exhibitions devoted to Twin Cities are held.
In 2009, reconstruction of the building of Dija is completed that has allowed to broaden exposition and service premises and to stir up the exhibition, Sobiratelski and developing activity.
Today in the city there are such galleries. What a gallery! M Gallery, 16th Line Art Gallery, and Gallery, Gallery of Children's Art Creativity. Mosaic panels in transitions. One of sites of Rostov-on-Don are the mosaic panels created in the late 70s, the beginning of the 1980th years in underground passages. Moskovskaya/Budyunovsky, Moskovskaya/Budyunovsky, Moskovskaya/Budyunovsky Avenue Street. Bolshaya Street, Sadovaya/Budyunovsky, Sadovaya/Budyunovsky, Sadovaya/Budyunovsky Avenue. Bolshaya Sadovaya Street /Voroshilovsky Avenue. Bolshaya Street, Sadovaya/Kurovsky, Sadovaya/Kurovsky, Sadovaya/Kurovsky Avenue. Bolshaya Street, Sadovaya/Universitetsky, Sadovaya/Universitetsky, Sadovaya/Universitetsky Lane. Bolshaya Street, Sadovaya/Nakakovansky, Sadovaya/Nakakovansky, Sadovaya/Nakakovansky Lane. Vacation spots. Gorky Park, Park of Revolution. In the city are available Rostov Circus, Zoo, Botanical Garden, Osmanoshik and Ho Aquaparks. The Rostov Dolphinarium has opened in 2009. Favorite vacation spots of residents of Rostov are the left coast of Don, known also as Levberdon, where sandy beaches, numerous recreation facilities, cafe and restaurants, and also the Green Island Tudona and the Komzensky Grove are located. 6 of them municipal recreation parks. On the basis of the Pleven Parks and October Revolution, of Gorky modern attraction complexes are created, remaining the most available part of cultural and leisure space for all categories of residents of Rostov. Parks continue to remain demanded. In the Friendship Park in Boulevard Komarov, 14 columns near which are mounted a site medallions of twin cities from Scotland, Germany, France, Bulgaria, Finland and Korea are established. Parks. Gorodskaya Embankment, Arc, Ya, A, Rebane, Left Bank Park, Recreation Park of a name on May 1, Recreation Park of Maxim Gorky, Recreation Park of Nikolai Ostrovsky, In its territory a football complex with Olymp-2 stadium, the Rostov Children's Railroad, the swimming pool, Choral, the Autodrome, Church of the Prelate Panalamon are located. The Students' Park at Chtutu. The Children's Park of Viticherevikin. Recreation Park of a name of October. Friendship Park. Boulevard Komarov. Recreation Park Friendship. Kapustin Street, Beach of the Northern Reservoir. The Park of Kornichakovsky. Ashabatsky Lane. Fairy Tale Park. Solar City. Recreation Park of a name of the October Revolution. Recreation Park of a name of the city of Pleven. The Park of Sabino. Park of Pilots. Shalahov Avenue. Park of Builders. Roz Avenue Park. Pioneer Park. Profsoyuzhnaya Street. Komsomol Park. Square. Square of the name Frunze. Pokrovsky Square. Don River Embankment. Main article. Don River Embankment. Gorodskaya Embankment, called by the name of one of the Russian naval commanders of Fyodor Yushakov, one of the most known sights of the city. Fountains. The first fountain of the city has appeared in 1868 in the Central Gardens, nowadays Gorky Park, on the main avenue of a garden. In the same place before Revolution there are two fountains at once, Horn of Plenty and Beacon. Nowadays do not work. One more fountain, Blue Lake, on the project of the sculptor Yao Z. Vade, on the place of the paddling pool. Nowadays Mayday Park. Is soon created, after the rotunda has appeared in the same place. In 1915 one more fountain on Yao Z. Vade's project, Lions, near office of the State Bank, has been created. In Soviet period there was a sculptural light organ fountain of Atlanta on Theater Square, the best known and the largest in Rostov. It is created in 1936 by the sculptor Evgeny Vuchetik. The composition represents group of the atlases holding a bowl over the heads and surrounded with figures of frogs and turtles. In the 1980th years and during 2002-2008 it was light organ. In total in the city about 40 fountains. The Fountain of Atlanta on Theater Square. The fountain near Shopping Center Sokol on Stotsky Avenue.
The fountain on crossing of Bolshoi Sadovoi Street and Budinovsky Avenue.
Movie theaters. Operating. Big on Krasnoarmyskia Street. Shopping Center Babylon. 11 halls. Kinemax Don. 8 halls with a total capacity of 1230 places. A cinema hall.
Kinemax Plaza.
The former movie theater, Pleven, 5 halls. Viewing of movies in the format is possible. Charlie the Western. The former movie theater, Sokol, 3 halls with a total capacity of 672 people.
Cinema halls.
Charlie the Northern. 4 halls on 180 places.
A cinema hall.
The Cinema House. The hall on 154 places. Cinema Star. Rio Shopping Center, 6 halls. Site Not Automovie Theater. On 100 cars. Cinema Hall of the Don State Public Library. Noble Cinema Hall, Chester Pub. Horizon of Cinema and Emotion. 13 halls with a capacity of 1580 places. There are cinema halls. The improved system of a sound Dolby Atmos. Kinepolis Movie Theater of Orbita Shopping Mall. 5 halls. Kinepolis Movie Theater of Park Shopping Mall. 9 halls. Phoenix Movie Theater. Former Movie Theater Luxor. Kinemax IMAX Movie Theater of Megameg Shopping Center. Anniversary. The hall on 800 places. It is closed on reconstruction since 2007. Creation of 2-screen movie theater in 2010 was provided. Russia. The hall on 540 places. It is closed on reconstruction. Kinemax Pobeda, it is closed on reconstruction. Closed. Petrol. It is closed in 2008. Nowadays public reception of the plenipotentiary representative of the President of the Russian Federation in the Southern Federal District. Kinemax Pobeda. The former movie theater Pobeda, the hall on 800 places. Rostov. The hall on 630 places is closed in 2016. Luxor. It is closed in 2019, 9 halls with a total capacity of 1227 places. A cinema hall. Hotels. In Rostov-on-Don over 60 hotels, the largest of them work now. Radisson SAS Don. 5 stars. Mercury. 4 stars. Don Plaza. 4 stars. Europe. 4 stars. Narins Park Hotel. 3 stars. Congress Max Hotel. 3 stars. Objects of Cultural Heritage. Evening Rostov. In Rostov-on-Don as of March 2012 there are about 1,000 objects of cultural heritage, including 482 monuments of architecture. From them 16 historical and cultural monuments of federal importance. 70 monuments of archaeology. 8 largest memorial complexes, 106 monuments of monumental art and military glory, about 400 commemorative plaques.
The developed town plan and situation in a historical part of the city gives the chance to consider Shamian Street and Saborny Lane as pedestrian zones with function of a noteworthy route with placement of shopping and cultural and entertaining facilities.
For implementation of an objective, issues of repair and restoration of facades of the buildings located in adjacent territories will be resolved. Samashko Lane, Cathedral, Newspaper, Moskovskaya Street. Architecture monuments. Profitable House of M5. Sherman. Profitable House of Masalatina. Building of City Council. A1. Solzhenitsyn's House. Trading House of G. Postavoitov. Paramanev's mansion. Permanovsky warehouses. Voroshilovsky bridge. Serbkach church. Rostov Cathedral of the Nativity of the Theotokos. Rostov Academic Drama Theatre of M. Gorky. Rostov Regional Museum of Study of Local Lore. Rostov State Circus. Железнодорожный bridge through the Don River. The fountain on Theatre Square. Watch factory. Private men's real school of S.Ya. Dejubiants. Profitable house of Pivovarova. Profitable house of Kistav. Profitable house of S.N. Manatsakhanov. The mansion has been built during 1911-1915.
According to the reference media about assessment immovable property, in 1911-1915 Serpuga Nikahasyanovna Manatsakhanova owned the building.
According to the reference media, all Rostov-on-Don for 1914, in the building the technical office Nasara was placed. Now the house consists of the trade rooms located on the first floor and inhabited, which are located on the second and third floors. Maximov's house. One of the first stone constructions in Rostov. Here the city council sat and the legendary city's mayor Andrei Baikov worked. Here shops, in one of which Pavel Chekhov, the father of the writer A.P. Chekhov worked, were located. Wrangel's house. At the end of the 19th century the family of the Baron Wrangel has lodged in this house built by the Rostov architect Nikolai Doroshenko. They have passed children's and youthful years of Piot Wrangel, one of outstanding figures of the White movement. Draft House. The mansion of the actress M.N.
Chernova has been built in 1899 at the corner of Bolshaya Sadovaya Street and Nikolsky Lane. Nowadays by Halcherinsky Lane.
On the project of the architect N.A. Doroshenko. This most beautiful building of Rostov is known as the House with Caryatids. Profitable house of Stepan Akhimov. Monument of architecture of pre-revolutionary construction. Profitable house of Miltsin. Monument of the civil architecture of the 19th century.
Is the Gradoformiashi center of a historical part of Rostov and a model of building of the time.
On the building there was a plate that it is the protected monument of architecture. Profitable house of Kotko.
Monument of the civil architecture of the beginning of the 20th century, the house in modernist style. In registration the composition methods and a decor characteristic of the neoclassical direction of modernist style, the huge blades uniting the second, third and fourth floors are used.
A geometrical ornament over windows of the second and third floor. The forged openwork lattices of balconies with the stylized vegetable ornament. An attic over 3 pulled together embrasures. Profitable house Bostrikanik. The building is built presumably in 1913 on Pushkinskaya Street. Ivan and Anna Bostrikany were its first owners. In 1920 the house has been nationalized and has turned into maintaining municipal fund. Rinzian's Balneary. In 1910 the famous Rostov Dr. I.G. Rinzian has created a balneary here, the first analog European spa clinics in the south of Russia. Among others, procedures were adopted here by A.P. Chekhov. The building is dilapidated. It wanted to take down, defend the house. It was possible thanks to the public. Trunov's mansion. Site on Temernitskaya Street, 13. Profitable house like Mayor. The monument of cultural heritage of regional value constructed in the 19th century. Profitable house of 50. N. Kramer. B. 1. Kramer's mansion. Mansion of Kramer P. 1. Chairman of the Board of Commerce and Industry Society of the Mutual Credit. He was a fan and a collector of painting, entered into Council of Art classes at Society of Fine Arts. The building is built in the 1900 years in style neoclassicism. On a facade, an arc-shaped bay window, 2 balconies, sub-window rail posts. Profitable house of Bakasaretsev. The building has been built in modernist style at the beginning of the 20th century. The host Bakasaretsev, Grigory Hristoforovich, public the Rostov City Council, the Honorable Magistrate of the Rostov Judicial and World District, was an amateur gardener, famous in the city. Now the building is entered in the Register of Monuments of Architecture. Profitable house of Masalatina. Masalatina's house is built in the spirit of eclecticism. In its architecture and registration, elements of Baroque and Classicism are combined. It is constructed in 1890 on the project of the architect G.N. Vasilyev. At the beginning of the 20th century the house belonged to the tradeswoman P.K. Masalatina. Now the building occupies New York Restaurant.
Masalatina's house has the status of an object of cultural heritage of regional value.
Archaeology monuments.
In the territory of the city there are traces of ancient settlements which construction has dated different eras, up to 5,000 years ago. People lived to Don alone approximately since a mid-Nakameni century, what numerous archaeological finds testify to.
In the period of a Bronze Age on the outskirts of present Rostov-on-Don, the fortifications dated in the 3rd millennium B.C. have been located. Complex of land and underground structures of Fortress of St. Petri Rostovsky. Remains of a ravelin of Fortress of St. Petri Rostovsky. Today, one of the largest monuments to history of Don region. The Adit. In the territory of the Mayday Park. The underpass for a water drain from the rich well at Artillery Pier. A relief slope at the Kirov descent. Leventsovsky Fortress. Lower ancient settlement Kailovskoye. Other monuments. The Alexandria Column. A look from an entrance to Viticherevikin's Park. Memorial in Izmailsky beam, known for that in August 1942 the German invaders have shot and destroyed in other ways about 27,000 residents of Rostov-on-Don, mainly Jews. This place of the largest Massachusetts extermination of Jews in Russia during the Holocaust.
Monument Court is a legendary monument to the 1st Cavalry Corps resident of Rostov, the majestic sculpture meeting the residents of Rostov going from the south and also thousands of passengers of transit transport. More than 30 years, the historical monument symbolizing liberation of Rostov from White Guards in 1920 serves as the hallmark of the city of Rostov-on-Don. The memorial to defenders of the Rostov sky is established in 1972 on the place of a Massachusetts grave of military pilots and civilians of the city, the dead and tortured by Hitlerites in days of the Great Patriotic War.
On one of memorial plates the text is beaten out. Here 1800 Soviet citizens tortured and shot in 1941-1943 by fascist aggressors are buried.
To the people who have died, but one.
The memorial to soldiers liberators of Rostov-on-Don from fascist aggressors is built on the central square of Rostov in honor of release of the city from the enemy on February 14, 1943.
Its monument established here to the 40th anniversary of the Great Victory reminds residents and his guests of the tragedy of military years.
Memorial to innocently murdered. It is open on October 30, 1993. In total in the Rostov region was repressed more than 9,000 people.
Alexander II's column is established in 1894 in honor of 25-year government of the Emperor Alexander II.
His stele to liberators of Rostov is erected on the central square of Rostov in honor of release of the city from fascist aggressors on May 1985.
The monument to its grave of 1902. This monument is on the right at entrance to the western inhabited area from the downtown. The monument is devoted to events of 1902 when there was a known strike of workers of the railroad which has begun in workshops of the Vladikavkaz Railroad. In essence is the embodiment of the Soviet and communist ideas about fate of the proletariat.
The monument to Heroes of Donbass is open on October 16, 2017 in Recreation Park of Nikolai Ostrovsky.
It is devoted to volunteers, the participants of armed conflict in the east of Ukraine who were at war for preservation of the Russian world on side of the self-proclaimed People's Republics of the DD and LPR.
The stele to Komsomol members of Don is erected in 1967. The monument to Children of War is created in 2016. Kamzensky Memorial.
The memorial in the Kamzensky Grove is built in 1983 in memory of a feat of the soldiers of the Red Army who have died at liberation of Rostov-on-Don from the German invaders in 1941 and 1943.
The memorial is located in the southwest part of the city of Rostov-on-Don, on the shooter of the cape formed at a sleeve source dead Donets of the Don River. It is erected on the project of the Rostov architect R. Naradian, sculptors B. Lapko and E. Lapko. Commemorative plaques. In the city there are more than 400 commemorative plaques located both on inhabited and industrial buildings, and on monuments. Being commemorative plaque, but not the text on a monument.
A part of boards is absent on the places or because of temporary capital repair of the building, or somewhere the house is already demolished.
Leaders in quantity of the established commemorative plaques are the central regions of the city, Kirov 115 and Lenin 92. Follow them Proletarian 66, October 59, May Day 35, Railway 34. Soviet, 19. And Voroshilovsky, 17. Areas. The question of transfer of all commemorative plaques located on buildings of the southern capital from maintaining the All-Russian Society of Protection of Monuments, on balance of municipal management of culture of the city is considered. Information plates have appeared in Rostov-on-Don in 2014. The project, which purposes education of the younger generation, is supervised by Department of City Economy.
Plates of 420 x 297 min size and frame thick are established on city streets and represent the aluminum composite panel.
Contain information on the biography of the person in the Russian and English languages, in honor of whom the street, its photo and the QR code is called. Sport. In Rostov-on-Don both the amateur and professional sport is very developed. In the city of 10 stadiums, from them Olympus -2 spaciousness modern places, Pskov the North Caucasus military district with a tribune on places. To the FIFA World Cup the new stadium, Rostov Arena, designed for seats is constructed. More than 100 gyms, sports palace, 10 covered objects with artificial ice function. Rostov-on-Don has the considerable number of the operating pools. More than 15. The majority of the basins of Rostov-on-Don are not just an alternative to natural reservoirs, and the whole complexes of improving services. 250-meter pools, wave and coral, are the most known in the city. They are in the lead on number of visitors. There are also a bicycle track, 4 rowing bases and channels. Professional sports clubs which are based in Rostov-on-Don. Football Club Rostov, owner of the Russian Cup of 2014. Silver prize winner of the Championship of Russia of 2015/16. In Euro Cups. The third place in a group stage of the Champions League. Participant 1/8 Finals Europa League. In the second division, Zone SAF. Football Club SKA, owner of the Cup of the USSR of 1981.
In the past in various leagues of the championships of the USSR and Russia also acted.
Football Club SKA Rostov-on-Don. Women's. Football Club Dynamo. Football Club Istoknik. Basketball. Rostov-Don Basketball Club. Women's. Ataman Basketball Club. It is created in 2010. Handball. Handball Club Rostov-Don. Women's. Handball Club Shtutu Leader. Men's.
In the past the city on the Russian and international scene was also presented.
Handball Club Istoknik. Women's. Handball Club Istoknik. Men's. Handball Club Tibble Group. Men's. Ice Hockey. Hockey Club Rostov. FIFA World Cup of 2018. In 2018, Rostov-on-Don as a part of the Russian application has hosted the FIFA World Cup. The Rostov Arena Stadium on 45000 viewers has been constructed on the left coast of Don at the left at departure from the city on Voroshilovsky Bridge. This stadium has hosted 5 matches of superiority. On June 17, 21 o'clock, Brazil, Switzerland Group E.
On June 20, 18 o'clock, Uruguay, Saudi Arabia, Group A.
On June 23, 18 o'clock, South Korea, Mexico, Group F. On June 26, 21 o'clock, Iceland, Croatia, Group D.
On July 2, 21.
00, Belgium, Japan, 1/8 finals. On Theatre Square of the city in days of a tournament there took place the Festival of Fans. The special site, Fan Zone, with a capacity up to 25,000 people has been for this purpose organized. Fans could see all matches of the championship on the big screen. Besides, points of a power supply and entertaining zones worked. By the beginning of the World Cup in the city there took place active building. In addition to stadium, a camping zone for guests of the championship, the southern and western transport rounds of the city, new hotels have been constructed. The bridge crossing through Don, with expansion of the carriageway to 6 strips. Healthcare facilities, the embankment of the city are reconstructed. The new airport, Platov, has been completely constructed. Massachusetts Media TV Tower of the Rostov-on-Don building of State TV and Radio Broadcasting Company Don Tar. The television to Dona has begun in 1956 with construction of the Rostov Television Center, which has come to the end on April 29, 1958. On April 30, 1958 trial telecasts of the Rostov Television have begun, and in February 1958 the Committee on Broadcasting and Television at Executive Committee of the Rostov Regional Council of Deputies of Workers has been organized. In Kola the Rostov audience has seen the first telecasts in 1969. In 1978 the Kola mobile TV station has begun to work at television.
Till 1991 in Rostov-on-Don there was the only television organization, the Rostov Regional Committee on Television and Broadcasting.
In 1991 the State Broadcasting Company, Don Tar, has been founded. Now on-air broadcasting is carried out by 6-meter and 10-decimeter TV channels. In the city the cable television, which covers densely populated quarters, is developed. The largest operators of cable television are Stream TV, former Telelane, and TV. Since March 2009 Stream TV and TV were a part of Kistkomster regions. Online broadcasts the first city TV channel, Rostov-on TV. The history of radio in Rostov-on-Don has begun on October 17, 1925, when in the city radio call signs have for the first time sounded.
On October 17, 1925, opening of broadcasting radio station of Society of Friends of Radio has taken place.
In 1926 the North Caucasian Regional Radio Center has been created. In 1931, the North Caucasian Regional Committee on Education and Radio Information. For January 1, 1940 in the Rostov region 73.8 thousand radio receiving stations have been established. In 1941 in the Rostov 29,000 already worked.
In 1960-1970 the volume of broadcasting was 2.5 hours a day.
In 1985, to the 60th anniversary of radio, 15 broadcasting transmitters, 410 broadcasting centers work at Don, from them 301 it is transferred to automatic control.
Duration of broadcasting centers has increased till 18.5 o'clock in day.
Broadcasting has captured practically all Rostov region. On January 2, 1992, on the basis of the Rostov Teleradio Committee, the State Broadcasting Company, State TV and Radio Broadcasting Company Don-Tar has been created. Main news websites of the city: Rostov City of Info, Rostov City Info. 161 Ru Don Day, Don News, Cry News. 1 Ernd Ru Rostov Today, Technodriv Ru A Notebook Rostov, Big Rostov, City Reporter, Delora, Arab Rostov, Rostov Messages, Rostov Transport, in Philately, Stamps, Brand of the Assar, 1983, Brand of Russia Armenian Temple Sarpach, 2001, Brand of Russia, 2009, Brand of Russia, 2011. Twin Cities. In honor of the twin cities of Rostov-on-Don and Dortmund, the astronomer of the Crimean Astrophysical Observatory Lyudmila Karikina has called asteroids 4071 of Rostov-on-Don, 5199 Dortmund. They have been opened by the astronomer on September 7, 1981. Rostov-on-Don, the hometown of the pioneer. In 2013, Rostov-on-Don and Pleven has celebrated the 50th anniversary of the twinning relations. The union of two cities has been legalized in 1963. Thus, Pleven became the second, after the Finnish Kajaani, the sworn brother of the Don capital. The list of the twin cities of Rostov-on-Don is given below. Also far. Write comments. Read comments. Interesting people will tell interesting stories. All of good mood and good luck.